Hey everyone, it's Aware One here. I wanted to jump on here real quick and just talk about a few things going on in the world and maybe give my perspectives on them and see how things might move going forward. Clearly, one of the big things over the last couple of days has been the drop in the price of oil. A few months ago, I had actually made a video and I talked about the oil. This was back way before COVID-19 actually, and I had actually pointed to the fact that because of the whole Greta Thunberg movement and trying to divest from oil-backed investments, especially some sovereign wealth funds, I kind of said that it almost would seem like it was a signal to the whole world, like, get out of oil. Oil's not good. And I was saying, I posited back then that it's possible that a new form of energy creation might be on the horizon. And there are actually some pretty legitimate devices out there playing on the cold fusion front and kind of going back into Nikola Tesla's old writings and building along a different almost avenue of scientific thought than was kind of split back then between Nikola Tesla and Einstein almost. Einstein never actually made any devices, if you will. He came up with theories that a lot of people were like, that's just a theory, you can't prove it. Whereas Nikola Tesla made devices. He made the, I think he's responsible for the switch in any kind of devices we have where there's a remote switch. I think he's responsible for that. So, or if something else. So, I think part of the real reason, or I'm going to play on this again, part of the reason that oil might be down is because we're entering a new era of energy creation. And that they can say it's because the buildup in all these prices and stuff like that. But I made the position back then that they were signaling to everybody to get out of oil because it was not going to be the future. A few months later, we have the coronavirus. And because of that, oil demand drops and the price of oil, for the first time in history, on the oil futures goes to a negative number. And it went down to like negative $40, which is no small number. So that shocked the world. And it's going to have a ripple effect going forward. Probably trillions of dollars were lost from some funds just from that move. And it shows that, A, the current markets are broken because if barrels of oil are trading for negative $40, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anybody, any real like refiner or anybody selling their oil for that low or less than $20. So there's clearly a problem with the speculators in the market just having so much money and so much fake money that's been printed by the Fed and all these different organizations, different central banks around the world, that all the markets have just gotten really wonky. There's no kind of basis in reality anymore, which kind of sets us up for a reset, right? What can you do? Like, either we're going to continue to go down this path and things are going to continue to get more and more wonky and they're just going to print the hell out of money, give it to people, but not tethered to any kind of financial assets or anything. There's no products being produced that equate the amount of money they're printing. They're just printing money. And I've mentioned this before, that if they keep down this road and they don't open the economy back up, we're going to be headed straight for inflation like we haven't seen in a long time. And as it looks right now, that's where we're headed. So I'll try and I found a link actually not too long ago of a company that's actually producing a device almost like a cold fusion device that they ship out to companies. And this is just the beginning. I think the 20s, the soaring 20s, similar to the 1920s, which started off in 1918 with the Spanish flu. We're going to have a very similar track, but throughout the 20s, we're going to have a whole new kind of technological development revolution taking place, if you ask me. And that's also because right now, much of society is tethered by having a similar viewpoint. All the people have similar understandings. We watch TV, we watch all these things that give us an understanding of how the world is. And because we're all watching similar things and reading similar news and stuff like that, we collectively manifest a stable, more stable environment. That's changing now because everybody's locked away. We're not interacting as much as we used to. We're doing it just through social media, which can get very like and noisy and bubble-ish. You can get stuck in a bubble. And because of that, the collective view of society, in my opinion, is going to start getting less solidified. People are going to be having different opinions or perspectives on everything to an increased degree than they were before. And that's actually going to have an effect in how the world is manifesting altogether. Nothing is certain. The future is not written. The physical existence that will be in a minute from now is not yet certain. It's forming from actions that are currently happening now, thoughts, beliefs that leads to these actions. And this is going to ripple out across society just because everybody's doing different things. Their whole patterns and routines have shifted. And because of that, their view of the world is going to shift. And that's going to change how they're looking, how they feel about it. And it's going to happen for everybody. And I'm just saying, like, get ready for stuff to not be so solidified and certain. And this isn't going to go away for the foreseeable future because this is only getting started. Hashtag bioweapon. Bioweapon. Like, you don't just shut down major countries around the world and economies for a small disease. So and we can set aside the lethality of that. They've already done the damage to cause a change in the global structure. And that's where we're headed. And I think one of the casualties in the future, and it's not like it's just going to go away, but oil is not going to be the prime mover of our whole society that it once was. Just because we're going to, especially like, there's going to be a whole ramifications of this new paradigm that we're living in. Talking about just more people working from home, there's going to be less driving, less oil. Not as much stuff to buy, less shipping needs less oil. A lot of that stuff was made of plastic. That plastic stuff, a lot of that plastic stuff ain't going to come from China anymore. Less oil. So there's this whole lot of influencing factors that are challenging oil. And again, it's not just going to go away. Our whole society is based on it. It makes all plastics, not all, but most. So oil is not just going to go away, but it clearly, now that it has traded negative, its days in the sun being number one are over, and something else will emerge. I don't know what that will be, but I'm curious to find out. So yeah, cryptos have caught a bid lately. Are they going to keep going up? The halving is like 20 days away. And the last halving was in 2016. We had the big bull run in 2017. If you go by that standard, we might see a run up here to the halving. Might kind of even spike a little bit around that time or after that time. And I think there's a potential that it'll kind of drop after that just because of the hype around it. But there's going to be like a 6-month lag from that period forward. And then after that, it's really going to start ramping up because especially as the world events that are currently happening continue, if we have a continued shortage in gold and silver access, things like that, if other countries continue, the economic situations in countries continues to deteriorate and the faith in fiat currencies continues decrease or decline, if the U.S. government continues to just print money and give it to people for free, eventually they're going to have to find something to buy with it. A lot of people will say that, even probably 80% of it, but you get 5 to 10% of the people that are getting it start to put it into something like cryptocurrencies because they can actually get a physical settlement of the currency. I know people, you don't get physical settlement of cryptocurrencies. I'm like, oh, you guys need to transition. We have transitioned into, okay, I'm a spiritual person, and like my whole life, and before I was born, there's all this talk about ascending to the 5th dimension, the creation of the 5th dimension, and all this stuff. And I'm positing here and now, and I've said this for years, we are facilitating and watching the creation of this 5th dimension. It's this internet realm, this realm where so much stuff, even this video that you're watching right now, exists as information on the internet. Now, the computer and all this stuff is a way for us to bridge to this. And I think in the future we're gonna have virtual reality and goggles and stuff like that, and it'll be even more of a bridge to this other world that we are creating. But this world that we are creating will also have a new digital currency because it is not of this physical realm that we persist in, and we're adding this whole new thing on to the world that was before. Just go back 200 years and try to describe to anybody the internet and what's done on the internet, and that they're going to be like, that doesn't exist, you sound crazy, i.e. that's a different dimension. All right, so our whole world has entered a new dimensional paradigm of this digital realm, and slowly but surely all aspects of the previous world are being kind of shuffled, rearranged, transformed to fit into this new paradigm, and save like an asteroid hitting the Earth or something taking out the electrical grid of the whole planet. This is just going to continue to progress. All right, the physical thing, we've left the rock ages, gold, silver, and all that stuff. It's going to hold its value and it'll be useful in things, building stuff, but those ages, the ages of those rocks are gone. We have blown through the oil age, plastic age, digital age. Here we are. It's not going to stop. We're seeing the birth pangs of a new era, and that's what's going on in the world right now. They have to shut down. Like, how will they transition to a new system if the whole world is running as it was before? It was like everybody's like, we can't do anything. It just keeps going. Just keep it going. Just keep it going. Just keep it going. It stopped. They did something to make it stop. It has stopped now. People have been locked down for a month. 21 days is all that is needed to change behaviors. They have done that. You're starting to see the ethos of America, these people that are fighting for their freedoms and don't tread on me. That's really starting to rise up, and that's what's going to happen because America serves that energy on the world. China is a very different type of energy. It's a very locked down and controlled energy. U.S. is freedom fighting, all this stuff. Over in Europe, it's more social structure and taking care of people. We're older. We know these different things. There's all these different types of energy ethoses around the world. America serves a very freedom-oriented, I don't care if I die, I will give me my freedom and my rights. And that's not going to change. So I know, I get it, all the people that are out there pissed off at all these people going to these rallies. Just realize that you'll appreciate them in a different time, a different place. You'll appreciate that ethos that they give. They're not going to change. So we have to just let them do their thing. Some of them will die. A lot of them won't. But in the future, when some of our rights are taken away, we'll be like, yeah, people, you fight for us. So just realize that's going on. What else? Anything else to talk over? I think that's about it. Just realize oil. I think oil's on its way out as the top dog in terms of energy production. We got some new intelligences and energies coming down the pike. And just my opinion, again, I will try and find the link I was looking at the other day that shows this company and what they're shipping out, and I'll put it down below. You guys can check it out. But yeah, buckle up, folks. We're in for a bumpy decade. It's not about what you do. It's about being aware of what you're doing right now. I'm aware that this stuff's about to get rough. All right? But with awareness and talking with people that you know, joining together as a community, we can all get through this. So again, awareness, acceptance, intentions, actions, and patience. Be aware that the world is changing. We are entering a new place. It's not going back to what it was before. And you have to accept that. The first two, most important. Be aware and accept. The rest can't come until those two happen. Once you realize we're in a new world, intentions, I intend to be able to adapt to this new world, to change my old patterns, let them fall away to ones that fit me better and help me survive in this place. Because our attachment to our old patterns is what will lead us to suffer more and potentially die in the new world, not just from a disease, but also from starvation, not being able to find something that's meaningful for us. There's lots of different ways that people lead to a path of self-destruction. And it's very likely at the same time that you fight to get through this, you're going to have to accept that some of the people that you know aren't going to make it. It's just the way that the world's going right now. We haven't had hard times for a while. it's just cyclical nature of humanity and our society that every once in a while stuff's got to get rough so we can kind of clean out, just like a forest, growing and growing and growing and beautiful life and all this stuff, but eventually it gets really crowded. Too much stuff falls out of those trees, they grab it down at the bottom, and the fire has to come in, cleans it out, doesn't kill all the trees, but it clears out all that brush, it clears out all the dead stuff, and clears about some of the things that were living get killed out too, just because it's a fire. But a lot of the stuff that no longer needed, like in our society, some of these zombie corporations, companies, if they can't survive a few weeks to a month shut down, maybe they weren't operating the best in the first place. And that's not true for all. Some businesses, especially like restaurants and stuff, they have hard margins to cover. It's not an easy game. And this being locked down thing is just not fair to them, and it's unfortunate. But a whole lot of things, a whole lot of businesses, a whole lot of what we used to know is going to be gone after this. And sad, yes, but in long term good, because it allowed new things that actually add more value to our world to come in. So just be aware that's going on. Practice your unattachment to things. Start working on not being so attached to everything, especially physical things. Work on maybe being attached or working, like having your attachments to family or people you care about be more important to the physical things that we've been used to, because that's going to change. Okay? So again, awareness, acceptance, intention, action, and patience. And patience is going to be the big key for all of us going forward too, because this is going to be again, decade. 2030. Yeah, 2030, right? But it's not about the destination, it's a journey. So enjoy the ride, realize that it's going to be a little bit of a chaotic month, year, decade. But we can all get through this, and you're strong enough. You are strong enough to get through this, okay? So that's your crypto awareness for today. Remember, it's not about what you do. It's about being aware of what you do. You have a good one.